G'day, listeners. Melanie, you're back. Thank God you're back. We love when we're having a chat to you because it's always just straight down the line. How are you being?
I'm good. I am good. It's hot. Is
Hot.
It's just freaking hot over here. I'll just say that it's like 120.
Well, it's about 12 degrees here, so which I don't know how much in Fahrenheit that is, but it's cold. It's cold on this end. So we were talking a little bit offline about communication techniques, and people these days don't have a high level of communication when they're talking to people in relationships or outside relationships, and that for me, I don't get it, right? So if I'm, and I say this to people quite a fair bit, if you want to learn how to become a tradesperson, where do you go? Well, you go to trade school. You get an apprenticeship. You learn how to do plumbing, electrician. You go and do all that stuff. If you want to become a CEO, you go and do an MBA of business. If you want to become a HR rep, you'll go and do a university course on how to deal with HR. Yet when it comes to understanding a relationship or ourselves, we just tend to wing it, don't we?
Yeah. Or mirror what our parents taught us or what our friends say or what have you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we have this massive gulf these days about people, and I see it on online all the time. These people that they communication techniques are pretty ordinary, and especially in the male space, because you've got all these male pickup artists who are talking about how do I manipulate women, how do I influence women, how do I get them to into a vulnerable position. And I think that's quite unethical, but I think that we lack as a species, especially with AI and all the social media coming out and all this narcissism that people have these days, is that we lack basic human communication techniques. And as you said before, a lot of us are actually unaware of it because a lot of it comes from our childhood as to what the environment, says about who we are. Like, so if you've got someone coming to you, it was a bit of a long intro, right? You've got a client coming towards you, and they have a very, very poor way to communicate. What are some of the things that you would start working with them on to help them understand not only themselves, but how to communicate with a partner?
Well, I'll just premise with, as you already know, I am not a person to dish out surface level Band-Aid bullshit
Yeah,
solutions.
correct. That's why you're on here.
Throw that out there first. um, it's most often, right? We are, and this is somebody you could say who hasn't done any amount of inner reflection or
Yeah,
inner healing or inner work, whatever language you want to use. Most often, we are afraid to be our true selves, to be real, to be, you could say, weird, quirky, not saying the right thing, bad timing, whatever you want to call it, because we have experienced in the past judgment,
yeah,
rejection, so on and so forth, right? So it's not the easiest thing to do, but
mm,
I always guide my clients. I don't care if they're if it's the beginning, the middle, or towards the end of us working together. And this might sound trite, but like, be yourself,
yeah,
whatever that is, whomever that is. If you have like a dark twisted sense of humor and that's who you are, show up as that version of you, right? Because here's the thing, you can't wear the mask forever. And
no,
then one day, I don't know how far down the road, right? But one day, the real you shows up. And then the other person might be like, who the fuck is this? I didn't sign up for this
where did it
person.
come from?
Yeah, and that is like that's one of the biggest problems. It's like we're showing up as a representative, right? And
Mm,
this goes beyond, you know, all of us want to kind of put our best face forward or best foot forward and whatever you want to say. Show up as our best self, right? But
yep,
often our best self is still wearing multiple masks. It's not our true self.
yep. So in that space, and we've talked before about conflict and how people have really bad, well, they don't do conflict very, very well. Like I saw I don't know if this is your post or somebody else's the other day, is that men, especially men, well, probably not men, but get this wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong. But I know from people I sort of see, they struggle to tell the truth to their partner for fear of conflict, for fear
Mhm.
of arguments, for fear of the fact that they may hurt the other person. That's right. It was a post about affairs. Why men tend to have affairs, and instead of addressing the problem, a lot of the guys were commenting about the fact that the reason why I didn't have why I had this excuse, but the reason why I had an affair is because I couldn't tell my partner the truth, because every time I told the truth, I was scared because I then ended in conflict, arguments, plate throwing, or the person couldn't emotionally deal with the truth that I was saying, that I was maybe unhappy with, maybe our sex life or the way I was being treated or the way I was being appreciated. And so in the end, that person had an affair rather than dealing with the truth. And I thought it was rather interesting that it's quite common that people in relationships will hold on to the truth because of the fear of what that truth may reveal.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, truly, at the end of the day, they're just hurting themselves.
Mm,
Because if you can't be like, this is your life partner, right? Or at
mm,
least your long-term partner. If you can't show your true self, all parts of you, right? Like it's very easy for us to show the parts that society deems as good,
accepts, yeah,
good,
acceptable,
yeah,
yeah,
worthy, the bright, shiny parts, if you will, right?
yeah.
Are the ones that we kind of want to be like, oh, stay down there, hide.
Oh, that one's shame. Yeah,
Yeah. The shame, the embarrassment, the humiliation, the whatever,
yeah,
Jung like called it shadow. It's in essence
yeah,
what it is. The darker parts of us, the not dark as an evil, but the
mm,
ones that live in the shadow, the ones that we somewhere down the line, somebody told us they were bad or wrong or dirty or sinful or any combination of those,
yeah,
right? And so then we have deemed those parts of ourselves the same, even though that's not true. I mean, we're
mm,
human and we're divine beings simultaneously. So there
mm,
technically is no bad, wrong, dirty, sinful. That's a bullshit
yeah,
lie too. But
yeah,
that's another conversation. So when we it's like, to me, I see that as a form of self-betrayal. And they don't
yeah,
even realize they're doing it, right?
yeah,
But by not showing up as their true self, by shifting who they are to please another, it's
hmm,
self-abandonment.
yeah,
And the other person, and then that person is like, well, it's her fault that I cheated, or it's his fault that I cheated because they didn't allow the space for me to say what I needed to say, but that other person just didn't have the courage to say what they needed to say, and then realize that they're not the one who's in charge of how the other
mm.
person reacts. They're only in charge of delivering the message.
And this is where hiring someone like yourself is really important because, and I will say to the listeners, right, even though we've been talking about, becoming true self and being able to communicate this stuff, this stuff is a skill set, right? If you try and have a truthful conversation with your partner now without understanding about their view of the world, their trauma, their back history, it's going to be a shit show. It will implode on you completely, which is why, hiring something like Melanie here is to go, right, okay, we have to have a truthful conversation here. Let me guide you through that,
Yeah.
because it is a skill set, isn't it? Because it can go backwards very, very quickly. If you're all of a sudden say, well, I'm going to just go hell for leather here. I'm going to nuke the whole thing about I feel unappreciated, I feel unseen, I feel unheard, I feel there's no intimacy, there's no sex, we're not even friends in the same house, I feel resented, right? Now, if you say that to your partner, that's nuking the whole thing, right? And there's a lot of
Yeah.
projection about you. And this is where I think people, why they avoid that truthful conversation, because they don't know how to articulate that in a way where the people are actually having their needs met on both ways. So if someone hires you in that space and they've got that situation where, and I find most people when they've got a relationship issue, it's more around a lack of appreciation. How do they actually, how would you navigate that with them in that situation? Let's just example, husband and wife, and they've both got the same thing. They both feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. How do you actually navigate with the couple in that space to navigate that very, very touchy subject, to help them have a healthy conversation about that?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is just for them both to set some ground rules, right? So that there's boundaries in place, there's compassion in place, there's love in place. So whatever those ground rules are for them, right? It's some obvious ones would be like no name calling, no blame, no shame, no throwing in something from 5 years ago as an example, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Things like
yeah.
that, right? Like current, present, now. And then the next thing is whomever is speaking, make it about you because it is about you. It isn't about the other
Mm-hmm.
person. So in other words, I feel this, not you made me feel this way,
Perfect. Yes.
right? Because
Yeah.
in all honesty, nobody can make you feel anyway. You've
No.
allowed them to do that, right?
Yep.
But we often say that you made me feel jealous, you made me feel insecure, you made me feel unsafe, whatever. No, I felt unheard in this situation when you and so were having a conversation, right? So when you bring it back to you, what that does versus the alternative of you did this to me, right? Automatically makes somebody go walls up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
now you're not communicating at all.
No, they're in
At all.
defense mechanism. They're in defend territory at that stage. They're not even listening at that point.
Yes, unless this person has some level of introspection awareness, right? Then, they're just going to call all of that is bullshit,
But that's
right?
rare though.
But
That's
yeah,
rare.
yeah, yeah. But in this circumstance, right? They're just like, fuck you. Now I'm playing to win, right? And
Yeah.
now I'm going to throw everything in your face because now I just got to win this argument because now you have just pissed me off,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than keep the defenses down when you say, I feel so and so,
Yeah.
right? And then pause, shut up. Let the other person say something too. And then as you're going back and forth with the communication, don't interrupt.
Mm.
Don't use anything from their past as any kind of a weapon. That's an automatic shutdown. Again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speak from a space of love and compassion. You love this person. Talk to them
Mm-hmm.
like you love them, right? Talk to them like you love them. And I think it's so fascinating that all of us talk about, well, communication is so important, but so many people communicate like shit. And
Yes.
at
Yes.
the core of communication is both people wanting to be understood, right? So as you are maybe listening to that other person, listen to understand. Don't listen to have a rebuttal. Don't
Oh,
listen
great.
to
Yeah.
say back,
Yeah.
whatever. Listen, take it in, hear them,
Mm.
and then respond.
Because you can actually see it in people's body language, can't you? When someone's sitting there and they're giving that kind of feedback, you can see them in their chair trying to go, right, I need to defend this. I need to win the conversation. As soon as you've got that inside your mind, I need to
Yeah.
win, it's game over. And the other thing I like to say to people before they even start is that, what do you want to get out of this conversation? Like, you've got ground rules there. It's like that's really good. It's like,
Yeah.
well, before we even start, what solution do you want out of this? Where are we
Yeah.
going with it? Because we can sit here for the next 2 hours. We can throw shit at each other. I'll just get some popcorn. I'll go and get some, put in the microwave. I'll come back, get a drink, and I'll just sit here and watch you two go at it for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
What is the
yeah, exactly. What's the point? What's at the end of this? What do you want? What do you want to get out of this?
right?
And
Right.
I think where where a lot of people, you make a good point there about the listening part. I encourage people to sit there, and once someone's said something to you, I encourage them to replay what they said.
Yeah. Just to make sure that they got it.
They got it because they can't.
Yeah.
If they can't replay what the person said, they haven't listened.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a skill set too.
Yeah, but it's funny because I find out of all the stuff when people have relationship issues, I think it comes down to a couple of things. Like we said before, I'm unappreciated, I'm unheard, I'm unseen. I think that's
And
probably it.
unresolved crap from the past.
Yeah, yeah, and
Mostly.
yeah, and it comes down to again, it's like, okay, well, all the way through school and high school and university and all that kind of stuff, we're so good at learning technical skills in geography and math and English and all that stuff. Yet the one thing we don't understand is that basic human communication, that when someone's talking, you've got two ears.
In one mouth.
Yeah,
For a reason.
correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So what happens to someone when they really feel listened and heard?
Oh, the walls come down. Like that's when true intimacy is built. People
Mm.
think intimacy is sex. Intimacy
Nah.
is truly being real, raw, honest, vulnerable. Like just put it all out there. This is me. That's
Mm.
intimacy. Then you can really connect to that person. Right?
Yeah.
That's when you get mind, body, soul connection, not this I'll just let you see these parts of me, but you'll never know this part of me over here. And you don't really deeply connect to anybody. And you can feel
Yeah.
that too. You can
Yeah.
feel those shallow type relationship connections.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before about those male pickup artists where they teach you about manipulation techniques. It's like, okay, guys, great. You've got a girl, you got her in bed and you've manipulated it. Like, well done. How do you feel about yourself? Like, do you really feel good about the fact that you've conned somebody through a psychological trick? You know, how good do you feel? That's just not a good place to be, right? So, having that place where you can effectively communicate is a skill set the top 1%. Well, it's it's less than that. It's 0.001% of people actually even use,
Yeah.
because being able to sit there and have a conversation with someone at a deeper level is the number one thing you can learn across the board.
For
And I
every
see a
aspect.
lot of people go, yeah, I see a lot of people go to dates and they'll talk about, oh, what's my star sign? What do you do for a job? Um, what do you do some hobbies? Like the conversation these days is horrible. And I've actually, like, I've heard some horror stories where people have been on their phone halfway through dates, scrolling through Instagram or TikTok or something like that.
Well, it's terrible.
'Cause they're
And
just,
a lot of women, I don't know if you've seen this on your side, Greg, a lot of women, more so like the boss babe type women,
Mhm.
uh, enter dates like an interrogation or like a job
Yeah,
interview.
yeah,
There's nothing sexy about that.
no,
There is
no,
nothing sensual or feminine or no.
no. But is that sort of the norm these days, that a lot of, and my brother-in-law's single and he's in his 40s. He's a catch, an absolute catch. So I won't give his details out. He's saying the same thing. Is you go on dates these days, and it feels like it is a job interview. There's a list of things that, and it's just too much pressure. People aren't just being natural there, and like you said before, people are coming to dates with a mask.
Yeah.
And it's not who they truly are, and people are, having to portray this thing that is not necessarily them.
No, and then you wonder why you keep attracting the wrong kinds because you're not you. So
Yeah.
your energy is conflicted in
Mm.
essence,
Yeah.
right? So it's like I'm gonna pretend, and in that pretender energy inside of yourself, you were feeling at odds. You were feeling
Mm.
just naturally torn because, again, it's not you. And,
Then you
and
can't
that,
relax.
what?
Then you can't relax, right? Because you got to keep that persona up from now on in, right? Because if they find the real version of you, like if you have 3 or 4 or 5 dates under that mask,
Yeah.
at what point do you drop the mask? You can't.
Well, you do eventually. You
Eventually,
can't,
you do.
you can't keep it up. You can't keep it up forever. It's
No.
it's literally just like telling the truth versus lying.
Mm,
It just tell the truth. You don't have to remember any stupid story. You just say what's true and what's
mm,
real, and there's no deception. There's none of it. It's the kind of dating advice I give, Greg, is not it's not mainstream. Like the core
yeah,
of my dating advice is just fucking be you. And
yeah.
it, most people are like, well, what do you mean? What do women want? The right woman will want you, the real
Mm,
you.
yeah.
What should I say? You should say what you would naturally say when you're comfortable and you're around your friends, because that energy, when you're you, this is the reason. I know you know this. When you're you, the real you, that energy, weird, quirky, bad timing, goofy, nerdy, I don't care what it is, whatever it is perfect, right? When
Hmm.
you're you, that energy is magnetic to others who will vibe with you.
Yep.
It's so simple, but yet
Yeah.
so misunderstood.
It's we're trying so hard to get away from who we really are. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So if
Yeah.
someone in that space where they're having conflict in their relationship, like having an argument, how do they diffuse that? So what would you do to say to someone, oh, it's out of control. We're all going this, you this, and you that, and all that kind of stuff. It's getting really tense. Someone's trying to win. It's becoming belittling. What point? What happens? How do you get people to recenter themselves without punching bag?
I'm about to say something that most people watching are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" I would say a few things. Okay, again, this is not mainstream advice.
We don't want mainstream around here. No.
No, get naked and do naughty things to each other. Like, get like if she's losing her shit, like get naked and start making out with her. Like she will shut up. And same with same with him. Or feed them, shove a cupcake near them, and then do naughty things with them. Like again, if you think about it, right? This is your beloved.
Mm.
You're just in maybe a bout of anger in the moment, right? That cuts through all the bullshit. You know you love the person, you know that you're into him. You might not like him in the moment, but that, I'm not saying it fixes everything, but in
No.
that moment, it it reconnects you literally, like physically, biologically. And now you're back creating love and you're making love rather than the split in the division and he said, she said, blah, blah, bullshit. And how much more fun is that,
A
actually?
lot more fun. It's a strange thing because I think people go into arguments knowing that someone's got to win and someone's got to be right. But I think I don't know how much it was, but I think when I did my Gottman training, about 70% of problems are perpetual, which means you can't solve them. And I think going into an argument, realizing you come out of here with an argument with a different opinion and not agree and still be okay.
Yeah.
Even in that space, that they're having that sort of mindset towards it, going, we might not agree on what this looks like. We may have different viewpoints of this, but we have to honor and accept that other person does have a different viewpoint, and that's okay.
Yeah. And to your point, what you were saying earlier, respect and appreciate that other person too. They're
Mm,
not you. They're not you. They will never
mm,
be you. They have different life experiences, different circumstances, different DNA, right?
Mm,
Will never be you. And to think that happy couples never argue or never don't see the same eye to eye, if you will, is infantile and immature and not actually true. You can have a really beautiful, healthy relationship and not always agree with everything, and that's okay. Like,
yeah.
you can learn from each other in that disagreement.
One of the very first things I learned, I mean, and it was, I look back now and I think, my God, how stupid was I? Like, one of the very first things I learned was, Greg, nobody sees the world the way that you do. I'm like, what are you talking about? Everybody sees the world that I do. It's like,
Yeah,
nobody sees the world like you do. I'm like, and I'm thinking, oh, and that simple realization,
yeah,
as profound as it was, and as simple as it is, like, oh, really? I just thought everyone saw the same world that I did. And then from there, I try to communicate to everybody the way that I wanted to communicate, not understanding the fact that over there, Joe Blow is more intellectually based, Sandra over there is more significance based, um, Kathy over there is more acceptance based, right? And I went,
yeah,
I'm trying to talk my way to somebody else who's not, and not realizing they're not getting it, because I'm talking from, I think they're seeing my reality and communicate the way that I do. And then I wonder why, okay, most people have got no idea what I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and part of that in those communication skills, right, is to understand your partner at a depth. That's why it's important to
Mm,
connect with them deep, right? At a depth where you understand how they communicate, so that when you are trying to communicate with them, you can do it in a way that they will understand.
correct. So,
Yeah.
question. How do you understand the other person's point of view and the world?
You ask them.
It's a simple thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
People
you
don't
just
do
ask them.
it. Yeah.
I think it's so weird how afraid we are to like get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or ask uncomfortable questions, but it's only your perception that it's uncomfortable because you're not
Mm,
actually sure how the other person's going to react. But if they're who you think they are, and you love them and they love you and you have an understanding, then, like, what are you even doing? Just ask them the damn question and find
mm,
out the answer. Like, don't I think it's so fascinating, and I used to do this in the past too. Of course, it's how I can reflect so well, that we'll be dealing with some bullshit with our partner, right? Some conflict, and then we'll
hmm.
go talk to our friends about it. We'll talk to our mom, our parents, our coworkers. We'll talk to
Yeah.
everybody and get everybody else's opinion, but we don't go to the source.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
And all those other people are the wrong people too.
Yeah, and
Completely
they're going to give you
unqualified.
shitty advice, first of all, and no, everybody is giving you their opinion based on who they are, their experiences, and their perceptions,
And
which
it's tainted.
know are going to be clouded. Just know
Correct.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's going to my girlfriend to ask about my boyfriend who she always hated.
Yeah.
Right?
What kind of advice do you think you're going to get? I knew it. I got a piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because the lack of, I just find it fascinating. Because I said this in a workshop the other day, and I said to a group of people, I said, okay, is your relationship one of the most important things in your life? And they went, yes. And I said, okay, who in this room knows the other person's history, backstory, how they're brought up, how they perceive the world, and how they view the world? None of them, not one.
Fascinating, isn't it?
And it's like, that's why you're in this room. That's why your relationships go into shit,
Yeah.
is because you don't have a skill set in relationships. You guys had a chemical attraction. You had a shitload of sex. It got to 6 months. I'm in a relationship now. We kind of like each other. Let's get married.
Yeah, that's pretty Pretty damn close. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we've been together for 5 years, so this is the next step.
Next step. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, some of the questions, like, and they can be rather simple, is tell us about your history. Like, even having that conversation with I'm gobsmacked the amount of people who don't know the depth of the trauma from their partner to understand their point of view. Like, to go, okay, tell us how you see the world.
Yeah.
And that'll be just a serious, and again, it's not having to um, psychoanalyze them. It's like you don't have to, it's just purely curiosity.
Yeah. But I want to premise though, what I've seen that is just not good, okay? Do
Yeah.
not dump all of your shit on the person on the first date. Like you're making everything about your ex, your exes, your baby daddy, your
Mm-hmm.
your
Yeah.
dad's a piece of shit, your mom. It's like that. The
Yeah.
premise of the first date is, do I like you enough to go on another date?
Yeah. Because there's a
Like,
very big difference between what we call victim mindset, which is someone who sits there and will talk about that. My mum did this, my dad did this, my ex-boyfriend's this, my ex-boyfriend's that, my ex-girlfriend's like
yeah,
this, narcissist, bipolar,
yeah,
psychopath, and none of that's about where's my accountability and this stuff, right?
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why learning language is also highly important, because it's learning about what people say, reading between the words, and understanding exactly what they're saying. And if you understand, that stuff, it's really cool. And people, yeah, don't dump on the first date. No.
And I've worked with male clients where they have told me that that women just like diary of the mouth, if you will, like
Mm,
everything, and they're just completely turned off. The guys, they're
yeah.
like, oh, that's just too much, and and then they come to me with it like, what am I supposed to do with this? Don't go on date number two, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But move along. But then they ask me, well, why? And then actually, before that, when I asked them, why did she say all those things to you, right? Like, where was the conversation going that she felt compelled to tell you all of that, right? Because I want to get some details.
Mhm.
And most of the time, they have said to me, which I think is so odd right now, that the woman wanted to see if the guy could handle it. What?
What?
What are
What?
you talking about?
Oh,
What?
come on.
Yeah, it's like, let me see if you're man enough to handle all of my
It's
baggage. It's a first date.
first time.
Calm the fuck down.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
not your therapist.
I wonder why they're single. Well,
Yeah.
but that's the whole thing again. We're coming back to the fact communication techniques that we just don't know how to sit there and communicate. And even the simple things like asking open-ended questions and being present, eye contact. Like having that
Yes.
place where you've got eye contact and asking open-ended stuff. Like, okay, well, what's in your life right now that you feel really purposeful about? What's driving you? And you get an insight into, okay, well, what's the person really about? What are you struggling with right now? What are some, and you don't get the whole dump there, but what are some of the things you're doing now that are really challenging you?
Yeah.
And
You,
they're not hard questions.
no, but you want to hear something where again, it's never a rule book or a playbook. It's
Yeah,
when I coach my clients in that space, it's whatever organically unfolds, just go with it.
yeah,
Basically, like when I've been on dates, I've
hmm
never had an issue with this ever with
never had a checklist. I've
anyone.
seen people with checklists, like notes in their phone of the questions to ask.
Yeah, no, and that's again that gets in, it's inauthentic, right?
It
So
is,
it's more like
yeah,
if you connect with that person, like
mm,
connect truly,
yeah,
you're kind of like two blabbing idiots. Like if you're
mm,
like, "Blah," right? Like it just organically, it's like you met like a really good friend and you
Yeah.
have like some attraction to them, and
Yeah.
there is no, let me look through my list and go through what questions do I want to ask this person. It just flows naturally, it just flows.
It takes energy out. And then you've got the question about, okay, and this, and again, this people just make it as simple as possible. If you like the person, text them over night time. Really enjoyed that. That was great. Can we catch up again? I'd love to see you again. It's not that hard, but this play. Oh, don't call them for a day. Don't call them for 2 days. You go, and it's like you don't want to seem too keen. It's like it's confusing.
Stupid, it's so immature, it's like not even high school, it's like junior high.
Yeah,
Like if you're into them, let them know you're into them. What's wrong with that?
yeah,
Again, it's that fakeness, that mask. Like why?
mm,
And we all feel that inauthenticity. We may not always be able to articulate it, but
yeah.
our words can lie, our mannerisms can lie, but our energy can never, ever, ever lie. And if
No.
it feels insincere or disingenuous or
Yeah,
inauthentic,
yeah.
right? That's a turnoff. It's an
Mm-hmm.
immediate turnoff. It's kind of like a
Yep.
red flag. Like, I don't even know if I want to, like, imagine you're on a date and you really connect, right? You're
Yeah.
like, oh, I really like him. Oh, I really like her. And then
Yep.
maybe the guy does like stupid game playing of like 3 days. I'm not, fuck you, dude. I'm done. Like, I'm
Fuck
not
you.
even
Yeah.
interested in you anymore.
That's a game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, grow up,
Yeah.
be a grown up, be a woman,
There
be
you
a
go.
man, be okay with letting them know you're into them. Like, why else are you
Yeah.
going on a date anyway?
Yeah. Is it that fear rejection again?
Yes, yes. But here's the thing, right? That same energy is going to prevent you from having the kind of love that you want. It's the
Yeah.
same. Where you're walking around guarded of like, fear of rejection, you're going to get rejected.
Yeah.
Rather than just being you and knowing that those that are meant for you, they're they're going to stay. You're going to connect. You're
Yeah.
going to continue to move on and cultivate a really beautiful relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I think,
be yourself.
I just, it's a basic need, and I don't understand why people don't get it. Like it's when I say to people, how do you expect to have any kind of healthy relationship if you don't understand how to basically communicate, not only verbally, body
Yeah.
language, energy wise, like you said, all that kind of stuff? Then it's like, well, it's common sense, isn't it? It's like, but people don't do it. And then they realize, well, the divorce rate's at 60%, second divorces are at 70%. And, we're facing into one of the greatest issues for women is that women over 35 are going to be generationally single and childless, you know,
Yeah.
and all for
I can't
what?
I can't relate to the childless part, but what I'm seeing about women in that is, and this is like no shit talk to men, because you know what, of
Mm,
course I love men, is women are, relationships have moved and are moving, even though the old paradigm is still out there. Women are not marrying out of need anymore. We don't
mm,
need financial security. And for
yeah,
such a long time, that was a big deal, right? A
yeah,
very big deal. Like
yeah,
our survival depended on it.
yeah,
Women are understanding we can have wealth just as much
which is
as
good.
men can,
Yep.
right? And so women are being more selective because they can,
Mm-hmm.
because now they're with somebody for the right reason, not out of survival, out of,
Mm-hmm.
hey, do I like you, you like me, we get along together, we have great chemistry, we have a great friendship, we have a beautiful uh, passionate sex life, we have the things that I want in somebody who's going to walk side by side with me through this
Yep.
life, through this journey. There's more criteria now.
Mm.
You can't just be a dude that's got a boatload of money and be like, oh, I can get any woman I want. Well,
Yeah.
you're not going to get that kind of woman for
Yeah.
sure,
Yep.
right? You're going to get the sugar baby.
Correct.
So Women are naturally, we're naturally more selective anyway, biologically at a primal level, as you know, right?
Yep.
Because we're the carriers of creation, of life.
Yep.
Now that we're no longer in mode of I need you, isn't that so much better for men too, though?
Right.
Because now men can realize, oh, she actually wants me.
She's choosing
Me.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me, the man, not me, the
Yeah.
bank account, not me, the gifts, me, the man,
Yep.
and
Not the
everything
survival.
that comes with me. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
such a beautiful place to be in.
But even reframing it that way is new for people.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's,
But
and again,
that's where it's shifting though. That's where it's shifting though. It
mm,
went from I need you. He needed her, sorry, to be the
yeah.
maid, to be the mom, to be the
Yeah.
housekeeper. Some bullshit over there, but that's
Yeah.
okay. She needed him because she had to marry.
Yeah.
She went from mom and dad to husband, and there were no options, right? We're
Hmm.
going back to like my grandma and even my mom a little bit. Now relationships are I don't need you for him or her. I want you. I
Hmm.
want you. So the paradigm is a mutually beautiful, you could say two whole beings, even though we're all whole, but we just don't realize it.
Mm.
Two beings who have done the inner work to shed the layers of survival, carrying the wounds from the relationships and bleeding all over your lovers and husbands and wives and whatnot, to I know who I am, what I want, and I want to share my life with you.
And that's because the narrative is, again, communication. The narrative of ways, but you've put it is perfect, right? Whereas other people put this thing about, like you've said previously, we've talked about, is that I don't need no man. Rather than saying, yes, I don't need you for this old paradigm of survival, thank God.
Yes.
I am financially independent, but I'm choosing you to co create.
Yeah.
Now, people want the first part of the narrative, I don't need no man, but they leave off the other part.
Yes. Yeah. And the people who are leaving out the other part have still unaddressed wounds,
Issues.
experiences,
Yeah.
whatever you want to name it,
Agendas.
unaddressed things. Yeah, because they're still
Yeah.
carrying that guard around the heart. It's
Yeah.
basically they don't trust men is the core of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, just coming full circle is that what you're trying to help people here though is to reveal that true self beyond the mask, beyond that, and be vulnerable like that, because that part of you is actually a strength.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So many women and myself too in the past before I did this inner work. It, you see vulnerability is weak. You see
Hmm.
tears as weak. You see your armor as your strength, but that is actually your weakness. That isn't
Hmm.
your strength. Armor
Yeah.
off, mask off,
Yeah.
that's you in strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
And
rest is just smoke.
that's a powerful position though, to be in that space where you can be your authentic self, because like you said, so many people these days present a mask, and like it's exhausting, it's tiring,
Yeah, it
and
is.
eventually
It is.
comes down, doesn't it?
Well, it has to come down with
Has
somebody,
to.
or
Yeah.
or you're alone. You're just going to be alone, and
Oh,
maybe
Mel, it's always great.
that's okay for some people.
It's always great to talk to you. I think I love you straight talking. I think it's fantastic because people need it. Like, there's too much fluff out there. Like, if I hear one more person say, "Oh, Greg, what's my attachment style?" Don't give a fuck. Don't
Oh,
care.
I
All right.
know.
What's my love language? Don't care about that either. Right?
Yeah,
Stop using
no,
processes. Just be yourself.
yeah. There's way more there than just those little tiny aspects. When
Yeah.
I mean, the core of all of this, Greg, is healing the relationship you have with yourself. That
Yeah.
is the core. That's the
Yeah.
end all be all. All the parts that you tell yourself you're shitty, you're a failure, you're not good enough, you're too old, too skinny, too fat, and blah blah. All this bullshit.
Bullshit.
You
Yep.
shift it. You love your inner child. You love your dark parts. you love and accept yourself unconditionally, then the
Yep.
world will start to reflect that back to you.
And then relationships are freaking gold from that stage. They are just an extension of
Yeah.
you.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
it's everything is this mirror, right? So to your point, it's a reflection of you. You we are taught that we need to seek from the outside in order to feel whole inside, but it's
Hmm.
completely the opposite, as I know you know.
Yeah.
As the within, so the without. The inside world reflects to you the outside world. What you would call your reality, what your five senses would tell you, what you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, starts inside,
Yep.
then goes outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. How can I get in touch with you?
Website, The Wild Heart Life, or find me on YouTube, Melanie Verstraete, or Google me, Melanie Verstraete, and you'll find me.
I'll put some links down below. You got any courses coming up? Any events coming up?
No, I did an event last month. I have a couple one-on-one coaching spots available. I have a wait list for a group coaching coming up. I'm opening up spaces for astrology readings again. Those are fun.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah,
Giddy
those
up.
are fun.
That'll be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, she's sought after. There's not many spaces left. She's worth it. She's down to earth. She's direct. She gets results. Melanie, thank you for again joining us on this podcast.
Thank
And we'll definitely have you on again because, as we see, it's such a great, direct, unscripted content that just comes from the heart.
It's my honor. So much fun to do these with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.